let's manifest this. I would love to do something with Gary Vee, maybe like a Shabbat or something.
Frankie Bernstein is the founder of Nice Jewish, a modern platform celebrating Jewish identity and fostering a community of like-minded people. Before launching Nice Jewish, Frankie made Forbes 30 Under 30 for creating one of the first influencer marketing platforms at just 19, and later built and sold Maya Tech, the most advanced self-service check cashing ATM, at 22. Through Nice Jewish, he brings his entrepreneurial spirit and storytelling to building community and redefining what it means to be nice and Jewish today.
You're hired. That was amazing. Thank you. Yeah. For the record, I also started like 100 other companies that didn't work, if that makes you guys feel better. I got my rule is throw as much pasta at the wall and something sticks, and I got lucky like twice.
Love that. Cool. So I have some questions prepared, but guys, feel free to I'll open it up to you guys at the end to ask any other questions as well. But okay, to start, Frankie, how did you come up with the idea to start your brand/account at Nice Jewish?
Yeah, great question. And before I get started, feel free at any point to cut me off. I have a really bad problem with the chitter chattering. So if I'm rambling for too much and you guys are like, want me to move on to the next thing, feel free to just jump in and be like, hey, Frankie, like, that's awesome. Like, what about the next thing? But yeah, Nice Jewish. Do you guys want the full background story of like how it kind of started with like TikTok and social media and how it evolved into like the in-person stuff?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, cool. So I grew up in Boca Raton, Florida, the land of the old Jewish people. And then I moved to LA when I was 16. And so because of that, I personally outside of like some people just like making fun of me and bullying me as a kid, never really dealt with like anti-Semitism, like the way my dad grew up in Dallas, Texas, and they literally thought he had horns. Like they actually thought that. I grew up hearing stories like that, never personally really dealt with anything like that, which was very lucky. And now today, obviously, things are very different. And so I'll give you like a quick little background. As you mentioned, like I just kind of always had the entrepreneurial bug. Outside of running the Brentwood Deli in LA, I've never really had a real job, but I can make a great sandwich. And so this was right after COVID. I had a business that was doing really well, and COVID was not great for that business. And so I started spending more time, like all of us, on the internet, and I discovered TikTok pretty much at like the end of, it was like December 2020. And I'm not like a beautiful supermodel, so I was never really big on social media, like posting stuff. But as you mentioned, like I worked with a lot of creators, and we were one of the first companies to pay people to post stuff on the internet. So I knew the space really well from the business side, which I'm sure all of you do too, working at Vayner. But I never was on the content creator side of it. And so I discovered TikTok, and I just kind of fell in love with it because, like I said, I don't really like posting pretty photos, but I can go on camera and talk and be myself. And that's kind of what TikTok really was at the beginning, and still is to some degree today. And now, I mean, you can argue like vertical video has kind of taken over all major social platforms. And so I would say the first year or so, I was just kind of messing around. My favorite TV show growing up, and still to this day, is Curb Your Enthusiasm. So a lot of my content was like Curb for millennials and Gen Z. And so I'd post like silly videos, but like I'd post videos that would get millions of views, and they were funny, but I wasn't really growing a community or like an audience of, like, people thought I was funny, but that was it. There was no like real community that I had going. And I just like posting funny videos. And then in October of 2022, I posted a video at Cat's Deli. I assume most of you are based in New York. So I'm sure you've been there. Great Reuben sandwich, amazing. And I posted a video and I said, tell me you're Jewish without telling me you're Jewish. I'll go first. And it was like me eating. And literally that week was the same week. This was October 2022, where Kanye posted like that he's going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. And as I mentioned, I grew up in Boca Raton in LA, never really dealt with a ton of anti-Semitism. And wow, did I just started getting all these crazy comments on my very wholesome Jewish video. Everything saying like the mustache guy didn't finish the job, just like things that were like blowing my mind. And I noticed that while everyone was talking about, oh yeah, Kanye's crazy, no one was talking about like the rampant amount of anti-Semitism that was happening on TikTok specifically, social media, let's call it. And I know the word like anti-Semitic and anti-Semitism is like overused now since like the war started and everything. But like at the time, there was no creators really talking about it. And so I decided to make a video. This was like a year before October 7th. And I'll try not to like be like too political or anything on this. But I posted the video, and I just kind of posted the video in the sense of wanting to like try to relate to people and tell a story, which was I basically explained how awful the Great Depression was in the late 20s and how bad Germany was in the late 20s and the 30s, to the point where someone like Hitler kind of came to power, and they every 100 years people blame the Jews for something. And I always tell people the best way to fight anti-Semitism would be for us to just stop being so awesome, because people hate us because they ain't us, kind of thing. But I posted a video basically explaining how like people start blaming the Jews for everything, and it started with like newspaper and propaganda. Now it's very much social media. And I was talking about like, hey, like I've experienced more anti-Semitism in the last week on TikTok than I have in my entire life combined. And so I made a video basically explaining how there's only 15 million Jewish people, 16 million Jewish people in the world. There's less Jews now than there was before the Holocaust. And this isn't a battle that we're going to win. But regardless if you're Jewish or not, if you like Jewish people or if you have Jewish friends, feel free to follow along. And I'm going to start making more videos about this. I woke up the next morning and went from like 20,000 followers on TikTok to 100,000 followers. And they were a completely different type. They were people that like were like really in love with the story that I told, and wanted to get more involved. So as that happened, I progressively kept posting more Jewish content. And when I say Jewish content, like I, like most American Jews, am not super religious. Since I've started Nice Jewish, I have started trying to like turn my phone off on Shabbat and things like that. But like my content was like, here is why Jews love to eat lox bagels. And fun story, it's because the Eggs Benedict was very popular, but it had ham on it. So the Jews invented the lox bagel because you could do the cheese and so I would do like funny, silly videos like that. Built up like one of the larger Jewish and Jewish ally audiences on TikTok. And that started, as I mentioned, October of 2022. My mom unfortunately passed away 2 months later, in December of 2022. And so I was just completely distraught from January, February, going into my 30th birthday, which was March 6th of 2023. And so I love to throw parties. Nice Jewish, we throw a bunch of like awesome parties and stuff, but I kind of like looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, I don't really want to throw a party for my 30th birthday. I was really depressed. And it turned out that the two girls that ran Israel's social media team were like, hey, like I posted a video. They're like, hey, why don't you come to Israel for the first time? You've never been here. And so I literally booked a one-way ticket to Israel. It was my first time ever going there. I instantly fell in love with just being surrounded by Jewish people. It was, I mean, not to say like I grew up, like I said, I grew up in Boca in LA. So like I was in a way surrounded, but like you don't know who's Jewish and who's not. We're like the majority of people in Israel are Jewish. And I was there for 2 months. Honestly, the only reason why I left is because my sister was getting married, so I had to leave in May. And I decided while I was out there that I came up with the name Nice Jewish. I got the Instagram handle. If you're ever planning on, if any of you have an entrepreneurial bug, I would highly advise you trying to get the Instagram handle even before you get the domain or the website. And I told my story to this nice guy, and I was like, hey, I would really love to use this dormant account, Nice Jewish, that you're not using. So I got it for like next to nothing. And when I landed in New York City in, I would say the last week of April, maybe early May, I posted a video saying, hey, I just got back from Israel. I love the Jewish community there. I love being in New York. I know there's a ton of Jewish people here. I'd love to bring people together. I thought like 20 people would show up. I woke up the next morning and the tickets were like $18, and like we sold 300 tickets. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. What do I do now? And the really cool thing about Nice Jewish is it's really, I joke it's powered by nice Jewish moms, because like half the people that come to our events or hear about us, like their moms tell them about it, or their auntie or something, or their nice Jewish bubby. And so I posted, I was like, hey guys, like I don't have enough, my space is for 20 people, this is 300. Immediately someone in the community reached out, they're like, I got you a space. And I still work with that gentleman today. He's really great. So we hosted our first event. It was in New York City, actually. And then pretty much every week for like Shabbat or some day over the weekend, I would host a nice Jewish meetup in either New York or LA, wherever I was at the time. So I was living back and forth. And everything was like really awesome and dandy until October 7th. Like it was really like the funnest thing I've ever done. I was making way less money than I've ever made in my life and had way more meaning than I've ever had in my entire life. And the events did well enough to where I could cover my cost of living at the time. So that's kind of like the founding piece of Nice Jewish. I don't want to go, there's a whole other, after October 7th, things changed obviously a lot in terms of like my advocacy versus like bringing people together, because I realized I could post a video that could reach millions of people, which was a lot more powerful and important at the time than bringing together 200-300 people at a time. And just in terms of like what was the most impact. But in terms of very specifically why I started Nice Jewish, it was one, the story I just told you. So like kind of like it was my way of fighting anti-Semitism, which was just trying to be relatable and being like happy and proudly Jewish on the internet. One, two, as someone who isn't super religious, but I think, you know, like I think religion's very interesting. I like to kind of like I kind of like to like pick the parts of Judaism that I love the most. Like Shabbat is one of my favorite things in the world. I think everybody, regardless if you're Jewish or not, should be doing Shabbat. And a big reason why I started Nice Jewish was because I realized the majority of most of my friends who also were Jewish were in the same boat as me. Like I have really bad ADHD or whatever you want to call it. It's probably way worse. So I couldn't sit in synagogue, but I loved like being in New York City and being at a party and someone's like, hey, what's up? My name's like something. I'm like, oh, my last name ends with Steen too. Are you Jewish? They're like, yes, I'm Jewish. And that connection that we have, like, it's kind of like, you know, when you meet someone that went to the same school as you, even if you were a different year, you just have that emotional, like spiritual connection. And that was kind of the big part of another reason why I started Nice Jewish and hosting these events, was just connecting people. People really loved just coming together. It didn't matter if you were like a billionaire and like you like launched this big startup, or if you just graduated from college and you just wanted to, then you just moved to New York or LA and you want to meet people. And so that was kind of like the founding story of Nice Jewish. So it's been almost, well, we're in October now. So yeah, it's been over 2 years. Yeah, it's been like 2.5 years now.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for speaking to that. And I guess in line with like your content, how do you like balance being playful while keeping like the content respectful to Jewish culture? And like you can also speak to like how that like your advocacy changed after October 7th as well, and how your tone also did.
So your question is, how do I deal with being respectful also at the same
also,
time?
like, yeah, like humorous, like balancing
and being entertaining. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, you guys, like if you're not pissing off 10% of the people that are watching your videos, you're not making good content. I don't mean it like in a bad way, but like when you're making content, you need to create an emotional response. And so like I have like I joke, I have like more rabbis that message me than like girls on Instagram, like in my DMs, because like I try to chat with them because they're so can I curse? I feel like Gary curses all the time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I like going to synagogue is so fucking boring. And it's like and I don't mean that in like a don't go to synagogue way, but it's like I posted a thing the other day where I was like, my grandparents loved going to synagogue because they were just happy that they survived the Holocaust. My parents just did whatever their grandparents said because they were just, you know, kind of happy to be there. As a grandchild of someone who like of someone who's a Holocaust survivor, like, and someone who grew up with the age of the internet and knowing with the next generation how bad their, let's call it ADHD, but like attention spans are, like, it's just like we need to spice this up a little bit. So like I posted something like that. It's a good example of like, in that post, I said like, I'm coming after everybody, but it was more of a joke. And I said like, if you're offended by it, you're the problem. And so for me, like, I believe that you can really do and say whatever you want as long as it's coming from a place of love. And so that's how I try to make my content. I try to make it very authentic to myself. I never like will like try to cancel somebody or go after somebody on the internet. I just, if anything, I do that towards myself. And I find like being more relatable helps. But like, yeah, like you need to be let's not say pissing people off, but you need to make people feel uncomfortable and feel that emotion to make content that actually works. Because if not, like like I said, I chat with rabbis all the time. They make great, very educational content, but it puts me to sleep when I watch it. And I'll try watching this 3-minute video, and I'm 20 seconds into it, and I'm like, oh my god, like my eyes are like fluttering. And so I think like I would rather being respectful is always like top of mind, but like I would rather upset some people and knowing that the video will, because of that, reach more people. I don't know. Did I answer your question? I'm trying to be. I don't know
Yeah,
if that is what I'm saying right now.
100%. And yeah, thanks for speaking to that as well. How do you deal with negative comments, especially with like the rise of anti-Semitism?
Yo, haters make you famous, you guys. I mean, like the reason why there's so many famous Jews is because like we are just like we work so hard, and we just have this like naturally ingrained thing in ourselves to like be great at whatever we're doing. And so, you know, at first, like when it first started happening, my reaction was, oh, I was deleting them. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck these people. They're commenting on my shit. They're making which tells the algorithm that it's doing better, that people are engaging with it. So like, I know a lot of people that, sorry, my allergies are so bad. Like my nose is gonna be like red by the end of this. The house I'm staying at has this pollen. I mean, tell me you're Jewish without telling me you're Jewish. Okay. But yeah, I mean, like you can be like a huge wuss and be like, oh no, someone said something mean. But like, here's what happens, right? Someone will say something really offending to me and my community, and I could delete it, or I'll leave it, and then you know what happens? My community will engage with that comment and start like yelling at the person, and which creates more engagement, which makes the video more viral. You know, so it's like if someone says something really, really, really bad, I'll be like, oh, okay, this shouldn't even be allowed to be on the internet. By Raquel, someone comments on the thing, or Rachel, yeah, I think Raquel. But yeah, I mean, like I embrace it. So an example of something that I did after October 7th when it was getting really bad, like people were commenting literally like swastika stuff, saying like Hitler didn't finish the job. And so I created a series, which was called like the anti-Semitic comment of the day. And I'd be like, congratulations to blank for saying this. Please send me your home address and I'll give you a present. And like, you know, just kind of messing with people. So yeah, I like to embrace it, like, or just like ignoring it. If I spent like too much time kind of giving that if it's a full-time job just dealing with the hate, right? So you have to like compartmentalize it, but also like if someone says something really, really mean, I embrace it. I'm like, great, I'm happy that someone said that, because now I'm gonna like make a video and just troll on them a little bit.
No, that's a really great mindset to have, and yeah, props to you for dealing with the hate in that way. Or how do you decide what type of content works best on different platforms, and like what's your kind of content strategy?
I'm the worst person to ask. Like my content, like you could ask my team. My content strategy is like so manic. It's literally just like whatever I feel like. It's like the same way most people eat breakfast. You're like, like what do I feel like this morning? I don't like have a plan. Like I'm not the type of person that like lays out their clothes and knows what they're wearing the next day. Generally, I have a few different styles of content. One is what I really love to do, which I ironically had a call with the Paramount team the other day about basically like I call it my not kosher content. Sorry. Sorry, my dad FaceTime. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
My dad, I'm on the call with like a bunch of people, and I was on Do Not Disturb, but I think you got through it. So I got to call you later. I love you. Okay, bye. My dad's my best friend. He's the best. My phone was totally on Do Not Disturb, but I think if they're in your favorites, they can kind of like bypass it if they call it twice. Where was I? Okay. Different types of content I make. So I have my not kosher content. Oh, wait, did I turn off my video?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm back. Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello. Okay. So I like, for instance, like I made a video called like, it's like pinned on my Instagram. Again, this might offend some people in the room, so sorry, but like, I just thought it was hilarious every time I was like walking my dog. People were like, oh, like what's her name or what's his name? And like, and like, I would do that to other people too. Like, I'll be on the street in New York or LA. I'll be like, oh my God, what's your dog's, like, what's his name? And they go, her name is da da da. And I just thought it was so funny, like, to like the whole idea of like misgendering a dog. Cause like, how much, like, I would have to like look underneath. And so like, I made a video called like the they them dog. And that got like hundreds of millions of views. That's like my not kosher content. Again, I think it's harmless. It's funny. It's super relatable. I did another video where, and that was like mildly planned out. The majority of my videos are not planned out. Like another video that was planned out. And when I say planned out, I mean like, here's my concept and then it's all improv. 10 years ago or more, I was at a bar and I took an olive off the bar and then they basically wanted to kick me out. And I was like, yeah, the olives were in front of me. So I was at a bar, I don't know, 5 years ago, and there was an orange. And I told them the story. I was like, can you just yell at me for taking the orange? And so I took the orange. They charged me $12 for a stolen orange. And that video, I think, across the internet got like 500 million views. And so that is like the only planned content I do is like the improvised content, which is kind of think of like Curb Your Enthusiasm for Gen Z millennials. Then there is current events, which especially since the war started, are something that are very, very powerful and meaningful for like a 48-hour to 72-hour period, but then like are kind of meaningless after that because like the orange video is funny forever, right? Where like me talking about like what like the internet crashing 3 days ago and explaining how that happened, though is interesting, like is relevant for like it's like a news cycle, right? It's only relevant for so long. Those videos will basically be my process for that is doom scrolling on social media or someone sending me a text of something that happens and then me immediately be like, boom, okay, video, green screen, let's get this out as quickly as possible, spend as little time as possible getting it out there, and just my like take on it. So those are like, I would say my two main things. And then I guess the third thing is like just the Jewish stuff. So I put more, so for instance, like I hated college with a passion, but it did teach me how to like prepare and learn for something and then do like presentations. And so I use that on social media. So like, for instance, like I knew what Shabbat was, but I didn't know like the reason why like we turn off our phones on Shabbat and like that it starts at Friday night and ends at Saturday night, which is the reason why the weekend started, or the first part of the weekend. The second part of the weekend is because Jesus got really popular and he said it was Sunday. So then we got Saturday and Sunday off. But so like I would teach myself these things. And then on Hanukkah or on Jewish holidays, I'll basically just kind of like teach it. And those videos are, I would say, interesting in the sense of like the orange video, like might get like hundreds of millions of views. But like me, when I talk about Jewish stuff, it's much more niche. So like if I'm lucky if that video gets 100,000 views. But my community loves that content way more and it's way more impactful for them. So like I would rather have a video like that, like more videos like that where I'm like, that's what makes, I think that's what makes my nice Jewish community happy, right? Like they obviously like to giggle and laugh at things. And so if I can do a combination of the two and try to make it kind of funny too. So yeah, those are the three main ones. I'm sure there's other, but they're not really coming to mind right now. But that's, my process is a pretty manic, like, let's just do this type of thing. I pray one day I can be more organized, and so does my team.
Love that. What has been the biggest challenge in building your own brand?
Oh my God. The biggest challenge. Well, I feel like my challenge is a little bit different than most. Like my sister just built like an epic brand, right? It's called Form. It's like workout at home. Shout out Form. They're crushing it. They have an amazing community of people that I don't know if any of you have heard of it before, but it's like workout at home videos. It's all on iPhone. They've built a whole community around like making yourself a better person, wellness, working out, taking care of your body. So like they don't get that much hate, right? It's like very wholesome. Where like there's like unfortunately like a large segment of the human population. I mean, I literally like get death threats for the brand that I'm building. And it's not like it's called like mean Jew. It's called nice Jewish. So I would say like the death threats probably are not fun. Is that the hardest part? Honestly, no. Like the hardest part is like balancing out like making content and then also like figuring out like how this makes money. Like I'm starting a new business with Gio, who's on here right now. He's on my team, making sure I don't say anything too crazy. I'm just kidding. but but like, you know, we're launching a new business, which I'm happy to chat about if you guys are interested in it. And that business is like anybody in the world could use it. I think it's going to be $100 million business in like 18, 24 months. And it's versus like the hardest part about building the Nice Jewish brand is there's literally only 15 million Jewish people. So I have a very small audience. So like I would argue like the majority of like chronically online Jewish people have at least seen one of my videos, which is great. So like when I walk around Boca Raton, like I'm like a D-list celebrity in the Jewish world. But like compared to, you know, these other creators who are building brands like the Logan Pauls and the Jake Pauls of the world, they're reaching like millions of people and they're building a brand that, you know, billions of people could buy, like an energy drink, where like what I'm selling is for a very small sector right now. So if you're going to be building a brand, I would advise you to look at the market. I never really thought this was going to be anywhere near the size it was in terms of like, which is pretty big for like the Jewish world. So if you want to build something, just know like, I think like the biggest the nice Jewish business could ever be is a very nice small size business, just because of like, there's just not that many customers. In terms of, you know, like if I think there's a company, I'm spacing on the name of it. I think it's called Hallow, and they're kind of like Headspace for people who love Jesus. And I'm pretty sure they've raised like $100 million and do very well, just because there's, you know, 2.5 billion Catholic and Christians in the world versus, you know, I think they're 0.25%, 0.25% of the human population is Jewish.
Awesome. Thank you for speaking to that. What's your dream brand collaboration?
It's funny. I don't really do a lot of collabs. My whole thing is just I'm like a lone wolf with it, and it's a huge problem that I'm this way, because like if you're smart, you're like I just got off the phone with my sister. She's doing like a huge collab. I can't say the name of the person, but like Hailey Bieber and all these people like rock her stuff, right? So like yeah, like I would love, you know, there's so many cool Jewish people that I would love to host Shabbat with. Like I'd love like Zac Efron, who's very much a Jew like me, he's not religious, like host a Shabbat with me. Or you know, you know what? Actually, let's manifest this. I would love to do something with Gary V, maybe like a Shabbat or something. So that I love Gary so much. Like his whole thing about being kind, and like our whole brand is you don't have to be Jewish, you just have to be nice. So I've been following Gary for like I don't know how long, and there's been times where I've been laying in bed depressed, and his videos like get me out of bed. So like I think the dude is he's a grown man, is very talented, and yeah, so let's say Gary V, just for the sake of, I feel like someone in this room could maybe make that happen.
That would be sick. Yeah. I would love the X Shalom, Nice Jewish Shabbat.
Yeah, let's do it.
We could do it. Like, is he in the office? Okay, last few questions, and then I'll open it up to you guys. What are you most proud of from building Nice Jewish?
What I'm most proud of is honestly, like I suffer from like really gnarly depression, and I have my entire life, and I think it's like also what makes me like good at what I do. I'm just like I'm like the voice of like me, like being able to like help other people is also like sometimes like equally as negative internally. And so like I noticed this this started happening like 2 years ago, where I'd be like I'll force myself to go for a walk outside, and I almost feel like it's like God. Like again, when I say God, like I'm not trying to push God on anybody. Like I have my own perception of God. It's very different than like how you read it in the Torah. But like I'll just be in an awful mood, and some random person will walk by and be like, "Oh, I love your Star of David," or like, "Oh my God, like I love your content," and just like little like things like that. I just feel like is like God talking to that person, knowing that like I'm in a bad space, and it just makes me so happy. Like it doesn't make me happy, but like it can literally take me from like being in a super bad mood to putting me in an amazing mood just from like simple strangers saying something nice. So like I'm super grateful that I've put in enough work to where like I can walk around pretty much any major US city and that will happen. Like I was in Aspen for the first time. I had no idea there was Jewish people in Aspen. I just assumed it was so far away from everything, but no, a lot of Jewish people in Aspen. And I was like walking around, I was in a bad mood, and some random like woman from Atlanta who was visiting was like, "Oh my God, nice Jewish, like I love your stuff. Can I take a picture?" I was like, "You want to take a picture with me?" Absolutely. It's like I don't know. Stuff like that makes me really happy and has been really good for me. And like someone met at our Halloween party 2 years ago, and they just got married like a few months ago. So like it's also awesome like connecting people. I you know I love connecting people. Um, and yeah, I would say those are like the first two that come to mind.
Love that. Okay, last question. Where do you see Nice Jewish expanding over the next few years?
Yeah, great question. So we've been kind of going all in on AI recently, like a lot of companies. So I created Nice Jewish Bubby, and we're also gonna be spinning out like a whole array of other companions. So Bubby is kind of like the spiritual companion you can chat with. You can, if you go to the website is not fully ready to rock right now. So I'm sure Gio's listening to this, like shaking his head. It's not Gio. It's not Gio's fault. It's another person. Well, it's my fault, for the record. Everything's my fault. But so the way Bubby works, I could, if you guys want, I could give you the number. It's her number, if you want, we just bought her an iPhone, so she has blue text now. Her phone number is 305 849 9459. Maybe if someone just like wants to put that in the thing. And so you can text with her right now, and people text her and say, hey, like, can you send me a recipe for, for the Shabbat meal that I'm making? You can also, we built out like a full thing where like she knows like what's the most important thing to you. So like you might be like trying to get a raise, or for me, like I'm trying to lose 20 pounds. And so you can call Bubby too, and it's very conversational and it's amazing. And so like we literally have like hundreds, sometimes thousands of people a day calling Bubby. And why does that excite me? Well, let me explain. Hosting in-person stuff is it's exhausting, and it's a huge part of what we do. And I'm a big believer that like as more and more things become digitized, and we live in this world where people are literally getting early onset arthritis from like dating apps and like scrolling on social media, that people are yearning for in-person stuff. So like we will continue to do in-person events. We're going to be launching specific chapters for each city. We're even going to be, actually, you guys might be interested, we're going to be launching Nice Jewish Pro, which is going to be kind of like my take on like Nice Jewish Professionals. So it would basically be like a step above the normal Nice Jewish membership is for people like you just moved to LA with your significant other, or you're single and you want to go to an event and just make friends. Nice Jewish Pro will be a very similar type of thing, but we're going to put you in a group with people who are into marketing, or people who are into accounting, or lawyers, or doctors. And so we'll have all these little beehives, we call them, where you have 8 people in your group total. And then you'll also have access to the entire group. So someone could go in there and be like, hey, who wants to grab a drink tonight in Soho? And everyone, like not just your beehive, but the hundreds of people that are in there could do that. So that's Nice Jewish Pro. We're doing the AI stuff. The AI will eventually be doing matchmaking, because Bubby gets to know you so well that like we're literally going to be able to like, it's like, yeah, we're probably going to spin off Bubby to like name her like Rachel or something. So like I don't know if everyone wants like a oy vey like type of person like setting you up on the matchmaking thing. That's kind of what Bubby sounds like. She's kind of she has a little Yiddish accent. And then so the AI, which I love because it's digital, which allows me to scale the business much bigger. We're going to continue doing events, and we're looking for, so if that's one of you, we're looking for hosts and ambassadors who want to host Nice Jewish events. Nice Jewish Pro, which is going to be kind of like, think like YPO for Nice Jewish people. And then yeah, like you can use your imagination. The name Nice Jewish kind of works with everything. Like we have like our line of like Nice Jewish jewelry, which is like sold out, but I think we have a new order that just came in. Someone spun out the Nice Jewish Run Club, which is really popular all over the US now. There's a Nice Jewish Surf Club, which is really popular in LA. And so my goal is 2 things. One, like I actually want this to be like a business that does well. As an entrepreneur, like I've been running this more as like a movement than a business. And so I think we're making enough moves as a movement to where we can start like selling more merchandise, hosting more events, launching the AI stuff. My background is, before I did all the content stuff and community building, was as an entrepreneur. So like I know like how to make money, and I think that's the best way to run and build a community, is building something that's self-sufficient, where you're not like relying on like raising money from donors who are going to yell at you because they want you to say or do something specifically. But yeah, and probably like a million other things, but I'll spare you.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions virtually or here?
I mean, I got one that's so I went to one of your parties with Montesiahu.
Oh, that was I love Modest.
Yeah,
He's so tall.
that was a fun time. I mean, I recently saw him in Boston actually. Like I
Yeah,
went to a show in Boston.
he's a good dude.
What do you think of his new album?
I wish I had time to like listen to like all the music. I mean, to be honest, like when I've hung out and smoked weed with Modest several times, like I have probably like 6 songs I listen to on repeat. And he is like one of like the most entertaining, nicest humans I've ever met in my life. Also, he's like 6'6". I usually don't like having tall friends because then someone takes a photo, then they all think I'm like super short. That was a joke, but honestly, it wasn't a joke. But yeah, but I to be honest, haven't listened to his new album. Don't tell him that. We'll cut that part out of the video. And yeah, like that was a great party. Like that was we had Cat's Deli that came and we were slicing up like all the sandwiches, and then Modest came out and performed a few songs, and yeah, that was like I want to do more stuff like that.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was great.
Thanks for coming. But what was your name? Sorry, because I'm on my iPhone. David.
I'm David.
Oh my God, a nice Jewish boy named David. I'm shocked. Oh my gosh.
Not important question, but what deli did you say you worked at?
Could you say it a little louder?
A very unimportant question. Which deli in LA did you say you worked at?
Oh, it wasn't a real deli. It was like this like Persian Jewish guy. It was across the street from Bellwood, next to Brentwood High School. It was basically like a liquor store with a deli. But like Harrison Ford and a bunch of like people would come in, and I would make them sandwiches, and then this guy who was just a total drunk would come. He would literally throw away my sandwich. But it was right next. It was in the same circle where the Starbucks is, and I think at some point there was a Subway in there too. And it's next to that nice Italian spot, but it's across the street from the Bellwood Bakery. So it wasn't that one. It was kind of the more like grungy one near Brentwood High School.
Yeah, I thought you might have said Brent's Deli, which we go to when we visit my LA cousins.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a bunch of good delis in LA. I make a really good sandwich. Like I there's only a few places I'll order a sandwich from because I'm a sandwich snob. But and by the way, that was a very important question. Sandwiches are very important to me. So and you guys, yeah, feel free to ask anything. Like I'm pretty much like an open book. So there's other stuff that you want to ask, or feel free to go ahead or whatever.
What do you like the most about being Jewish?
What do I like the most about being Jewish? Just like that, like natural connection that we have with other, kind of like what I was saying about like you run into someone who also went to Syracuse and like, oh, like even if they were like 4 or 5 years before or after, you kind of like have that natural thing. Like we have so much shared trauma of just like existing for thousands of years and like surviving that like it's just fun. It's a big reason why I started Nice Jewish. Nice Jewish will probably end up being like what I hope to be is like a Facebook for Jews type of thing. And so like a place where you can actually like go on and like connect with other Jewish people, like because my entire life until starting Nice Jewish, every time I met someone, like I don't know if someone's a Jew. I mean, sometimes you can kind of tell. Like I but like a lot of times you can't tell. Like my grandma had like blonde hair and blue eyes, and you would never know, and probably why she survived the Holocaust, honestly. And so like a lot of times you can't tell. So I think like that natural shared like generational trauma that we have is one of my ironically one of my favorite things about being Jewish. Also like I think it's hilarious that we have a holiday like every other day. We're like the hardest working people, so like we have to like create all these holidays so we could like force ourselves to stop working. I mean that's literally what Shabbat is. Shabbat's definitely one of my favorite parts about being Jewish. I unfortunately at this time, like I'm not fully keeping Shabbat. My goal is to like find a nice Jewish girlfriend that wants to do that with me. I just find it incredibly difficult to be single and then turn off my phone for 24 hours over the weekend. Yeah, but if you guys haven't, going to Jerusalem and doing Shabbat in Jerusalem, where literally like 99% of people are just off their phones, with an exception of like a few tourists, and like it forces you to make plans like on Thursday or Wednesday, and like you can't even like, and like I didn't even know where I was going. I was literally asking like I literally asked like some random German tourist who was in town. I was like, hey, like I'm going to this address. I have no idea where the fuck I am. Like, can you point me in the right direction? I was like, this is technically cheating, but like, yeah, but yeah, if you guys haven't done Shabbat in Jerusalem, like that's one of the most epic things ever. It's like it's just beautiful. You just feel like you just feel like the divinity around you. It's crazy.
Love that. Anyone else? Any other questions? All right. Well, Frankie, thank you so much. This was such a treat. And I really will be manifesting that Shabbat with Gary, because like low-key we could like try and make that happen. That would be
Yeah,
cool.
let's do it. His whole thing is about like being nice and stuff, so we could do like a be nice Shabbat.
That would be so sick.
Yeah, and I'll be back in New York soon. So I'm in LA right now, but I really appreciate you guys having me. And yeah, I hope everyone has, I know, what is it, Wednesday? Hump day. Happy hump day. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. And if any of you want to reach out personally for any reason, you can either get my contacts, or honestly, like if you message me personally on my personal account on Instagram, and if not, I'll share my email with you guys too, and you can feel free to reach out about whatever you guys want.
Amazing. And I'm just gonna take a picture of everyone from the back. Wait. All right, guys. Smile. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Frankie. And yeah, we'll be in touch. Would love to like future events.
Thank you guys so much. Talk soon. See you around.
Bye.
Bye.